So if you own a Volkswagen, there could be a ton of hidden tips and tricks inside your car that you might not even know about. So yes, I'm talking about things literally hidden within arm's reach. These could be buttons in the roof, they could be hidden on the multimedia system, and there's even things like different camera views as well. So here's 10 tips and tricks on Volkswagen. Now, it's important to note that Volkswagen do make a lot of different models, so some of these tips and tricks will apply to other models in their range. However, I do plan on doing some more tips and tricks in the future on some of their newer cars as well, ones with this big ginormous screen in the middle, so make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. Anyway, let's take a look at this one. Now for tip number 1, we've all seen this. Look at your instrument cluster when you turn your car off. Check Safelock, vehicle wallet. What on earth does that mean? Well, I asked loads of people this and genuinely they didn't know the answer, so I did some research and found out the answer for you. Basically, it refers to the car's deadlock system. So when you lock the car, it basically means the handles will not work on the inside. So it's basically a warning to you and to any occupants on the inside of the car. If you're locking it, they won't be able to get out. Obviously quite useful if you have the windows down because it stops someone leaning in and, undoing the handle, so to speak, and then just gaining access to the car. But when it's deadlocked, of course, it won't do that. So that's what that message is basically a reminder to just be aware if you're going to lock anyone inside the car because they won't be able to get out. Right, on to tip number 2. Now for tip number 2, let's be honest, car multimedia systems are very, very complex these days. They are effectively a computer on wheels. Sometimes something can happen. It could freeze, or maybe you just need to reset it. Now yes, you could just turn the car off, but maybe you don't have the time to do that. Maybe you want to do a soft reset, which is basically like a computer restarting, kind of while you're on the move. So to do this, on the multimedia system, there is of course the power button on the bottom left right here. And all you do is hold your finger on it for just around about 5-6 seconds. So place your finger on here and hold, and just keep holding till the screen goes black. Just like that. Now the multimedia system will now restart. Don't worry, this doesn't clear any data or reset it back to factory. It's purely just a simple restart. I think the same procedure probably does happen if you lock it and leave it for like 10 minutes or so, but this is a quick way of restarting the multimedia system just in case you run into any issues. Of course, just give it a bit of time to boot back up because it will be a bit slower just loading up all of the icons. But a few seconds later, and you're good to go. Now for tip number 3, I'm sure a few of you probably know this, but this is quite a cool thing. Did you know that if you go onto the background tab here, you can actually change all of your instrument cluster dials and basically all the color scheme of the entire interface. Now this is really, really cool. I don't know there are many manufacturers that allow you to do this, but it's good to see Volkswagen allow you to have that level of customization. Like for example, in my own car, I can choose blue or red. That's it. Whereas in here, if you go to individual at the top, you can choose virtually every color that you can possibly think of. And as you change it, it will literally change all the dials over here on the right hand side as well. Yes, you can literally even go for pink or the classic blue, or fire up with a bit of green. I like that. That's pretty cool. Now some of you may know that one because it might be fairly obvious, but here's something you might not know. What about start-stop technology? You know where the engine cuts off at traffic lights. There isn't a dedicated button in here because if you want to turn it off, you can turn it off, but there's no button. So that's actually hidden on the car screen. So all you need to do is tap on the menu button on the right hand side, get back to your home screen, go onto vehicle, and notice here, there's that A, the symbol for the start-stop technology. So you know it's literally in here. So yep, go into vehicle and go onto the status tab on the left hand side, the one with the I, and then notice start-stop there with the A. This is how you can turn it on and off, just like that. So yes, no dedicated button, but that is one of the ways you can turn it on and off. Now for this next tip and trick, did you know that there is a different camera view on your reversing camera? Of course, if you have one. No, you don't need a 360-degree camera or a surround camera for this. Just a simple reversing camera will do the trick. So I'm going to need to start the engine for this and pop the car into reverse. Now when it's in reverse, of course you've got your sensors over here on the right hand side and then the camera there, and you can just about see a dog on the top of the screen there running behind me, so I'll make sure I won't move. But notice down here on the bottom in the middle of the screen, there's an extra menu option. So down here allows you to make the camera really, really wide. Now to give you an idea of how warped that image is there on purpose, this here for example is literally a curb, actually parked perfectly behind me. I'm dead straight against the curb. But if you see here, it looks really warped. It allows you to see so far left and so far right, which can be quite useful if you're reversing out where you can't actually see, but the camera might have visibility at the back. So you can toggle between those two modes and keep it like that as well. Now, one downside to using the wide camera view is that the lines you see here on the screen aren't actually visible. So notice here, if I go to the wide view, those lines disappear, but at least you can see further left and right. And lastly, before we move out to the exterior, because there's something on the outside I want to show you, there is also a light mode and dark mode. So if you go up to the top here and swipe down, notice here it says bright. You can go on here and toggle between a light mode, or what Volkswagen call the bright mode, so bright mode and dark mode. So yeah, just in case you don't want it to be so in your face, you can toggle between those two like that. Pretty cool. And while you're there as well, you can also control the brightness up and down like this. Of course, this would only impact it at night time, but having said that, dark mode looks pretty sweet. Now, as far as I can tell, this car doesn't have electrically folding mirrors. So how do you know it's locked from a distance? Well, that's by looking at your indicators. So pay close attention to this. When you unlock a Volkswagen, you'll get 2 flashes on the indicators. So unlock, 2 flashes. It's a bit different when you lock it. When you lock it, you'll get 1 flash. But how can you tell if it's unlocked or locked from a distance? Well, check this out. If a door is slightly ajar, so not actually locked properly, even if it's just on the latch, look what happens when you lock it. No flash. But you still do get the 2 flashes for the unlock, but if there's no single flash, that means you've left the door open. Now, Volkswagen's multimedia system does actually have something very similar to CarPlay, where it actually has a split screen view just like this. However, when you go to change, like for example, the radio station, you're literally just tapping this and going through everything A to Z. But did you know there is a way you can change it to just your presets, also known as your favorite radio stations? So to change what these arrows do, of course, at the moment you just press them and then they kind of go forward and backwards through the entirety of the stations, and of course there'll be loads of them. All you need to do is go to menu, then go to radio and media, then go to settings on the bottom, then go to radio, and notice here, arrow buttons, all stations. All you do is change that to favorites, and now if we go back to the home screen, and of course to the split screen view, now when you press this, it's only going to go through your presets. So at the moment, the presets on this one are just Radio 1 Extra and Hot 90s. What a classic. Now, while we're here, did you know that there is a hidden favorites menu on the very top of the screen? So all you need to do is swipe down from the very top, and it's in the same places where the light and dark theming is. And these are your favorites here. So if you hold your finger on one of the favorites, you can now choose what those 4 are going to be. So I don't know, maybe use the air recirculation a lot. Just drag him up to the top, and then you can replace him with the favorites that are already shown there. Maybe you want the start stop up there, that's another way you can do it. Maybe you always change the background colors. You can pop that up there as well. And once you're done, just hit the close button, and there's your new favorites. But yes, press and hold, and there are quite a few you can choose between them. Literally just swipe across, and there's a whole load more you can choose as well. Now for the last tip and trick, did you know that there is a hidden button up here at your reading lights, built into the actual button? So everyone knows that, of course, when the doors open, the lights would normally be on and that sort of thing. And there's a button over here where you can turn them off when the doors are open. I've mainly got my camera here at the moment, that's why I've got it like that. But tap in this area and the light will come on. Did you know that you can hold the button? If you hold the button, it will dim down, then let go. It will stay dimmed at that level that you left it. So that one's dimmed at the moment. If I press this one, that'll be max brightness. But if I hold in that area, dim down, let go, and they've got dim lights. I bet you didn't know that one. So there we go then, guys. That concludes this week's video on the Volkswagen tips and tricks. Now, if you liked what you saw, make sure to hit that like button, leave us a comment down below, and of course, if you liked what you saw as well, hit that subscribe button as well, all of which help the channel out. Before we go, I'd like to get a huge shout out to Volkswagen Breeze for supplying this car. I literally wouldn't be able to make this video without them, so huge shout out to them. There's a link in the description down below if you want to go check them out. But guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, see you then.